What to do, YouTube? MJM for Life here, back again, bringing you another Gen 6 Wi-Fi battle. This time it's against Jacob from Smogan. So let's get into it. We're using the same team we used last time, and I'm going to lead off with my Mamoswine as he's going to lead off with his Rotom. I noticed that when I typically have Mamoswine, people usually tend to lead off with their Rotoms, but he's going to go straight for the Will-O-Wisp. Kind of expected him to do that, but I'm going to go straight for the Stealth Rocks. He does have a Rapid Spinner and Donphan, but I do have a Spin Blocker and Trevenant, and Trevenant can take on Donphan one-on-one all day, every day, so I'm not worried about my Rocks going anywhere. He also does have a Talonflame on his team, so I really want to hinder that, so he's going to go for the Hydro Pump and take me out after I just get a little bit of damage on it with the the Ice Crash. Now I'm going to go into my Kangaskhan. I'm not going to Mega Evolve it because I kind of expected him to go into his Gengar, so I do have the Scrappy ability, so I wanted to be able to hit it with something instead of Mega Evolving and not being able to touch it whatsoever. But instead he decides to go into his Donphan. I guess he wants, that's a much better switch just in case I did want to do that, so that's a good switch on his part. This Gengar would have taken about half from the Fake Out. But he's going to go straight for the Earthquake, knowing that I do have a Ghost type. He also got a crit there, which I didn't even see that last time. So my Trevenant has a tough time early on in this match. So I'm going to go for the lead seed, expecting him to go. I didn't want to go for Will-O-Wisp because, again, he did have Talonflame. But so if he wanted to go into his Rotom, I can get off a lead seed. But I actually missed the lead seed, and that's not going to be the first time that this happens this game. So he's going to go. I figured that he was going to stay in and go for Will-O-Wisp because I almost wanted to go for a double lead seed, predicting him to Volt Switch into his Talonflame. But I figured since he switched directly into Rotom, I think he's going to try and burn me, because a lot of people make the mistake of burning Trevenant, and it doesn't really matter, especially because Trevenant has the natural cure ability. So basically, he just allowed his Rotom to get burned. And since I see leftovers, I know it's not Resto Chesto, so that's going to make this Rotom a lot easier to deal with in the long run. So now he's going to Volt Switch out, as I'm going to predict that Volt Switch and go for another lead seed. And I miss again, so very, very unfortunate for me early on in this match. And I'm going to switch out, get the natural cure going, so I won't be burned anymore, so I can start gaining HP instead of losing it. And I'm going to go into my Tentacruel. He predicts that nicely, goes for the Thunderbolt, but it doesn't do that much because I do have the Assault Vest. But now he's going to go into his Rotom again. I wanted to predict this switch and go into for the Sludge Wave, but just in case he wanted to stay in and just Thunderbolt away, I felt like it was much safer to go straight for the Scald, even though I wanted to predict the Rotom switch in. But now I'm just going to go back into my Trevenant because I can take on Rotom one-on-one all day, every day. I also expected him to go for either a Volt Switch or a Will-O-Wisp. But he decides to go for Thunder Wave, and that's actually perfect for me because he doesn't really get any momentum. Instead of him going for the Volt Switch, he's not really getting any momentum. But now he's going to go for the Volt Switch. That's fine. Again, I'm going to predict the Volt Switch and attempt to get off a lead seed. But he goes in his Talonflame this time, maybe expecting me to Will-O-Wisp on the switch, but instead I get fully paralyzed here. So again, not able to get off another an attack with my Trevenant. So now I'm forced to switch out. And looking at my team, my Togekiss was definitely the most expendable member on my team. So I figured I could just go and maybe paralyze it if he wanted to, go straight for the Brave Bird or something. But it's okay. Again, he's expendable, so he does. I basically want to get the recoil damage on him. So again, I'm going to go into my Kangaskhan. Not even worried about Talonflame, because after the Stealth Rocks damage, Mega Kangaskhan can OHKO it with the double Fake Out. But I only need a regular Fake Out because the Togekiss did her job and took down, lowered the Talonflame's HP, so I could take it out with the Fake Out easily, so I don't have the Mega Evolve, so he can't switch in Gengar. But now he decides to go into his Mawile. He's going to Mega it up, and I thought I had a Mawile counter, but gosh, that did a lot. I think that's a lot of damage to me, considering our max HP, max defense, plus I resisted. That is a lot of damage in my opinion, and I do not like that damage. That Mega Mawile is a threat, man. But now I'm going to go for Will-O-Wisp. I debated on whether or not to go for the Will-O-Wisp or the Brave Bird or the Flare Blitz. I didn't think he would stay in, but I didn't want him to go into Rotom because I actually didn't want to reveal that I had Will-O-Wisp and him go into Rotom and not get burned. But he decides to go into his Donphan, which was a much safer switch, because I also had that in the back of my mind because his Rotom was low on HP, and I don't think it could have taken Stealth Rock damage, plus burn damage, plus 2 Brave Birds. So I think that's why he wanted to keep his Rotom around. But here, he goes to his Donphan, double switches into his Gengar, and I'm going to predict him to go for the Shadow Ball this time, go into my Kangaskhan, and here he switches out. And now, to me, I thought that was strange, as he's going to go into his Rotom, and it's going to take some big damage from the Fake Out. Now, to me, I thought maybe, I had two thoughts in my mind about his Gengar. Either it was choiced and he was locked in the Shadow Ball, so he had to switch, or it has 4 attacks, and so he didn't want to get Sucker Punched. And I really wasn't sure which one was which. But there I stayed in to take out the Rotom. I do have Speed EVs in my Kangaskhan, so I was pretty sure that I was going to outspeed it. So now he's going to go into his Mawile, double switch into his Gengar. and he pulled a lot of double switches, but in my opinion, they were completely useless because they really didn't net him any advantage, in my opinion. So now he's going to go into his Trevenant. I'm going to test this theory out. I'm going to go into my Trevenant. I figured, you know, if he wasn't choiced, I was going to find out here. And I'm going on the assumption that he's choiced, actually. So what I'm going to do is try to get off another lead seed, and it proves that I am correct in the assumption that he is choiced. And I figured even if he wasn't choiced, I really don't need Trevenant that much. I mean, his Donphan's already burned, and his Talonflame's already dead. So if he is able to get off a Rapid Spin, I really don't care too much, honestly. His Pokemon won't be taking the residual damage on their switch-ins, but it's really not that important in my opinion. So I'm going to get off a lead seed finally on a Pokemon, get some HP back on my Trevenant. He's going to go into his, what is that thing? Greninja, there it is. And he's going to go for the U-turn, and now he's going to switch out into his Donphan. Now, this Donphan switch-in was kind of strange to me because I am a Water type, and I think I didn't want to risk him living a Scald. So even though I do have 31 special attack EVs, IVs, I didn't want to risk him living a Scald, so I figured Trevenant was just a much safer switch, so I'm just going to do that instead. Just because I know he was going to go straight for the Earthquake since he brought in his Donphan that way. So I'm going to take this opportunity to go for another lead seed. I thought about going for the rest, but again, I didn't really need Trevenant, so I didn't really think that was too important. Plus, that would give him, if he went into Gengar, that would give him make it a lot easier for him to predict my switch, since I would pretty much have to switch at that point. So this video is another example of why you really shouldn't switch into the same thing multiple times, because here he's going to go for the Focus Blast, and instead of bringing in my Kangaskhan, I'm going to go for my Tentacruel, and because I kept on switching up the Pokemon I was bringing in on his Gengar as he gets another crit there, didn't even notice that in the game. Because I kept on switching the Pokemon that I was bringing in on his Gengar, he really couldn't predict what I was going to go into. So now I'm going to go for the Scald here. He's going to switch in his Donphan as Death Fodder, and it does just straight up die, so I easily could have stayed in last time, but I also maybe thought he had some speed EVs in his Donphan, that's why he switched into it, but it doesn't matter now. Now he's going to go into his Mawile, big threat, Mega Mawile. I'm going to go into my Talonflame, as he's going to opt to go for the Iron Head, and gee, look at that damage. I mean, god damn, Mawile. But now I'm going to go for the Will-O-Wisp again. I could have easily gone for the Brave Bird or the Flare Blitz, but I figured Will-O-Wisp was the safer play just in case he wanted to stay in and attempt to Sucker Punch me, because I'm pretty sure I would have died from a Sucker Punch looking at how much damage Iron Head and Play Rough did. But I can just burn something and then go for the priority Brave Bird. If he brings in Gengar, it's going to die. If he brings in Greninja, that's going to get burned, and I can just switch into my Tentacle. So I really had no reason not to go for Will-O-Wisp, and Talonflame's looking at it has a good amount of HP here, so now he's going to go back into his Greninja. I can just go into my Tentacruel, basically as Death Fodder, to take a couple of hits from this Greninja. He's going to opt to go for the Surf, and it does absolutely nothing, and he's taking some Life Orb damage plus some Stealth Rock damage. Now he's going to go for the Grass Knot. That's a really good play here because I really wanted to click Sludge Wave, but I didn't want to a Sludge Bomb, I think I have. I didn't want him to go into Mawile and get a free switch in, even though that would be a risky switch in, especially if I was going for Scald. But I just wanted to be safe just in case, and I didn't really need Tentacruel anymore, so that's why I just went for the Scald, even though the Grass Knot was pretty obvious. But now here he's going to go into his Mega Mawile. I'm not really sure why he switched out his Greninja like that. It can't come back in on a switch in, and all he did was just take some extra damage on his Mega Mawile. I think he thought that my Kangaskhan couldn't touch his Mega Mawile because I switched out every single time, so I bluffed the fact that I didn't have a move to touch his Mawile pretty nicely, and basically they're going to win because his Froakie's going to die to the Stealth Rock switch in. So good game, Jacob. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, all the other good stuff, and I'm out of here. Deuces.